Your next challenge is called Testing 1, 2, 3. This one should be short and sweet. Your team is writing a fancy new text editor, and you've been tasked with implementing the line numbering. Write a function which takes a list of strings and returns each line prepended by the correct number. The numbering starts at 1. The format is n, which represents your line number, a colon, and then the string for that line, the text for that line. Notice the colon and space in between. So see the examples. If you have nothing, you output nothing. If you have a list, they kind of show it as an array, but you can see over here in the challenge, it's a list. So that's okay. But element 1 would be the string A, then you'd have B, then you'd have C. Notice you're just putting the line number in front of each line of text. So I think that's very clear. Go ahead, you have the tools to solve this problem. We've used those tools in the past. So go ahead and get yourself some honor points. All right, I'll go into solution. I'm going to use LINQ. I'll make it nice and simple. System LINQ, so we don't get yelled at. I like to have a space between my using statements there. And so what I'm going to do is, what are we doing here? We've got a list of strings and we need to modify them. And you can kind of think of that as transforming each line, or in terms of enumerable methods, sort of projecting the input into a new kind of data. And so if you were looking through your enumerable methods, select, which you've seen before, projects each element of a sequence into a new form. That's what we're doing. We're kind of changing the form. It was just text, and it's going to a new form, which is line number, then the text. Feel free to look at the examples if you'd like to refresh your memory on that for select. In this case, it just took a range of integers and transformed them into squares. So we can do that. So we will say enumerable select, I'm sorry, we're gonna go lines, right? We're gonna take our list, we're gonna call select on each element in that list. And so what do you want to call your parameter? We're just going to use a lambda function here, right? You start with that parameter list. Why not call it line? And then you use the arrow, which denotes now you're going to write the body of that method. And so we need to put the line number first. They told us the form. I'm going to put, well, actually, before I get ahead of myself, with select, let's go to the top and look at our overloads. And you'll notice it's quite helpful, this overload we've used before. This one incorporates the element's index as well. So let's use that because we want the index number. And you can see you just add an extra parameter to your parameter list. Instead of just using line, or in their case fruit, we're going to add another variable name which represents the index. And then we'll have access to that information. So let's modify ours to do that. Instead of line, and because now I have multiple parameters, I'm going to enclose them in parentheses. I'll call my index I, but maybe you want to call yours index or something like that. And then I'll say in here, I plus 1. Remember, in indexing, it starts at index 0, but they told us the numbering starts at 1 over here in the instructions. So let's make sure we're using I plus 1. And then the colon they wanted a space, and then they want your data, which will just be the contents of this line. That's any given string in the lines collection. Remember that it's a collection of strings. Select's going to handle looping over that and applying your lambda function to each element in lines one at a time. And so after that, right, we know that select returns an I enumerable of type string in our case, right? They just generically put T result because it can be anything. It's generic. We know in our case we're working with strings, so ours is string. So can we return an IEnumerable of string? Well, the answer is no, right? The contract here says list of string. So let's convert that to list. Remember, we can do that. That's part of our enumerable methods to list, see? So we can do that. And then we get the list that we need, I think. And then of course return, right? We have to say we're returning this result. Let's give that a test. Good. Green is good. There we go, we got it. So we're clear to submit. I'll submit mine like this. If you want to stick around, I'll do one. Maybe you did this with a loop and you didn't want to use LINQ, and that's fine too. I'll probably submit mine this way though. So another way, if you didn't know about LINQ or didn't want to use it, you could say list of string. I'll just call it result. Let's make a list of string. Then you can loop over the list, right? I is less than lines dot count, I think, for list. And we could say it's basically result. We know lists have an add method, and we're just going to add sort of what we did here, right? I'll add the same content to the result. And finally, after you've looped through and covered everything, gotten all the data, transformed it, you can simply return your result. And so I'll test it that way. The name line does not exist. Yeah, that's fair, right? Line was the parameter name I gave our lambda function. So what would it be here? It would be lines at index I, right? More green. All right, so yeah, we're still good. I'm gonna go back and submit it the other way, but I just wanted to do this other solution in case it was helpful for anyone. Delete. We'll do our one-liner here. Reattempt. Awesome. Submit. You know what to do. Look through those solutions, see if you can gather anything else. If not, do more challenges. Thanks for watching. I appreciate the likes that are coming in and the subs. I really appreciate that. That motivates me to keep making content. Thank you for that. And I will see you in another one.